Welcome to the No Stand Zone podcast. My name is Tiae. It's always a pleasure to have every one of you here. Another week of incredible events around the Nigerian music industry and beyond. Both the things that concern us and the things that don't concern us. I feel like everything happened this past week, and we just have to deal with it, and we're going to do all of that on the show today. For you who's joining us for the first time, please do not hesitate to follow on social media is at Tiae Sound. That's on Twitter, TIAESOUND, as well as No Stand Pod on Twitter. And you can also send us messages on via email as well as no stand pod NOSTANPOD at gmail.com. And don't forget that to also subscribe as well as like the videos on YouTube as well. During the week, I will post the full episode actually is on YouTube as well. So if you're wherever it is you're listening from right now, I want you to know that we're also available on YouTube, and I post short clips of the video also on YouTube. And I say clips, don't be surprised when you get there and it's not a video podcast just yet. Well, I'm working on that. Trust me, it's gonna happen soon at some point. But right now, let's just focus on the content, okay? So you can get short clips of the pod. Maybe you missed an episode or you just want to refresh your memory on some of the things we've talked about. I post those videos there as well. So please do not hesitate to go on YouTube. Please subscribe and tell your family and friends about the pod as well. So much to get to today. So much to get to. And let me start here. Now, this past week, I think I engaged on social media more than I usually do on a weekly basis. And for those who have been listening to this to me for a minute, you know that the reason why I started this podcast in the first place because I felt like there needs to be a space where there are more nuanced conversations around the things that are happening, and not just nuanced conversations, because that gives the idea that it's that people are knowledgeable as well. A lot of people aren't, and about the things they talk about, they're not. And then at the same time, it's biased again. So I couldn't just stand the conversations that were happening, and then it's why I decided to open this space up. And I just want to, appreciate everyone who every week tune in, and I see it on the back end. So thank you for that. But another thing social media has done is it's given everyone a platform to speak, right? Where everyone can say whatever they want, and it's fine. I honestly don't have a problem with that. But then the where I begin to have a problem is where those uninformed and biased voices kind of eventually become what shape, or they create the narrative that shape the industry. That is where I kind of begin. I cannot just sit and watch everything that is happening. Now, there's so many voices speaking about the music today. So many people having Twitter spaces. So many people have big audiences on Twitter and on social media. Not because they know what they're talking about. It's just because, you have to give them a shout out because they've been able to build a brand out of that, right? But where I think it is most important, and my conversations this week kind of made me realize even a lot more how valuable what we're doing here in this space is, right? Where we can bet on each other. One thing that is not happening in this industry, and as much as people are collaborating, artists are collaborating, we're not really together, right? There is hardly any space where people are able to sit and nobody's trying to scam the other person, sort of, like from artists and record labels to like you just dealing with vendors and things like that. We've heard really horrible stories about these things that are about the things that have happened in the industry, and it just kind of takes me to a position where I'm thinking, if there isn't any place where we need to collaborate, it is here in the media space. People where we need to come together to sort of not come together kumbaya, but us recognize each other, right? And understand that, or give respect each other as well, where we can recognize each other's spaces and how important it is, so that when we are having this fight, right, with this international voices or international institutions, when they come in, we're not just all drowned out and it looks like we have no power of any kind, right? And there's this, idea of, oh, we don't own anything, we don't do this. And that talk usually pisses me off, because I think of all the things that is the problem, that is the least of the issues right now. Talking about owning stuff. I mean, it's getting so redundant. I'm so pissed. I don't want to hear it again. Right? I think what is most important for me in all of this is it doesn't I don't want to say it doesn't matter. Most people don't own their shit. That's why these record labels are as big as they are. They own a lot of people's stuff, right? It's like a bank saying, it's like someone, a customer saying, "Oh, the bank owns my money," or like you put the money in the bank. How many artists are gonna be independent? Like your money is not gonna go as far as what the bank can do with them. How many people can do what those institutions do? Like I don't want to get into that, but I'm saying that what is more important is um, controlling the narrative, so that even when these institutions interact with us or our artists or our culture, they don't own the culture itself, right? We're still in charge of that. And I think that is the most important thing, irrespective of what happens. And there are going to be more institutions that come in that try to control things. I mean, there's money to be made here. So I'm not even, them wanting to come in is not even the problem for me. They will come, right? There's a reason why they were not here in 2002, 2003, 2004, 2010, 2011. There's a reason why they were not so, like their footprint wasn't everywhere at that point. It's because they just didn't know, or they didn't see how they could make money. A lot has changed now, and a lot of people are still going to come in to try and see how they can make money here and there. And like I was saying on the Twitter space this week, I was saying it and I said, more people are going to come in. And while we are sitting down and say, oh, it's, Nigeria does not have the right, institutions or structures and all of that. Well, those companies are coming in either way. Whether the structures exist or not, those companies are going to come in to see how, either one, they can benefit from the structures that already exist, no matter how, disorganized that is, or they're going to come to try and build the culture, build the structure so that they can control things and benefit from it. We have to make up our mind here. And I think we're not going to solve the problem of the structure anytime soon. And I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on what can we do now? How can we solve a problem now? And the one we can solve as of right now is controlling the narrative of what is happening in the industry. So that when somebody out there says this is your biggest artist, we can come as culture custodians and say, pause right there, right? Just pause right there, right? I can confidently tell you, when the only artist or they know over there in America and other places is Ayra Starr and Thames, I can tell you those two are not the most talented artists on the continent. Not in songwriting, not in performing. Those are the kind of conversations I think we should be having here and controlling that. And that's not going to happen. The power that I think we can have, it's not going to happen when we're also fragmented, especially in the media space. And I'm not just talking about media and people on the internet media. I'm talking about people who have spent time building the structures that exist today. And like I will always give a shout out to Adeyo, who is a writer at it's a plug NG, right? He's also the co-founder of Turntable Charts. I mean, there's Emmanuel, who has one of the biggest spaces, one of the most influential spaces for Afrobeat or Nigerian music culture and all of that exists today. I mean, so there's that, right? And we are here as the the biggest podcast for music, strictly for music conversations in around the Nigerian music industry, and I'm not talking about here coming in and out and interviewing artists. Anybody can do that, and we see that today. Like anybody can can go out there and interview an artist, right? And not that those interviews are great anyway, because I'm sitting here as one who has been in the business for over a decade, right? Who has studied and kind of put my head down, and also studied how just journalism works, and how you ask people questions, and how you really have to be interested. And it's not just about, oh, let me just ask questions that is going to make my video go viral, but actually be interested in the music, be interested in the artist. Like, that's a whole lot. In fact, I don't even want to get into right now, but there's a whole lot there. This podcast exists way more than that. There is no one that is doing what we're doing here. I've had conversation, for example, with Tiae about the turntable charts, and I've never, you can go on to YouTube, go on wherever. There is no YouTube video or anything that exists anywhere of the co-founder actually talking about the creation of turntable charts anywhere. We're the only one that has that content out now. So when people are shouting, oh, Billboard is this, Billboard wants to come, and okay, have you put your money where your mouth is? Have you supported these companies? Right? Have you supported the turntable charts when they were here? How did you do that? Right? People just talk, right? And as much as you have recognized them, have you also held their feet to the fire? We are the only ones. I'm the only one that has done that in this industry. I can tell you that, who has done that on both sides, where support them with everything I have. At the same time, hold their feet to the fire and hold them accountable, and set the bar or standard high when I'm at, kind of set the bar high for them and say, this is where you need to be. You need to think about the whole thing, how you're going to pull this off. You need to be more creative about how you execute your plans as an organization. I've held their feet to the fire. I've given suggestions on how they can do that. Like, I'm just here dishing out, gems for free on a weekly basis, right? For anyone who would listen, right? So, we're still working on basically speaking with people on behind the camera. If I could use that, behind the glitz and the glamour, people who are putting their head down and trying to make this happen, trying to really do the work. And that's kind of like where that's kind of like where we are on this podcast. And I'm still going to be reaching out to more people who I think are trying to get it right. Like, we've had Sheila Sisi here, one of the most promising movie critic and writers that exist on the continent of Africa right now. We've had Adea, you're here. And I'm just, like I've said, I'm not just going to bring anybody to this space, because what kind of my thinking when Adea came here is not just anybody, not just artists or that kind of thing, people who are building structures. And look at it today, how many years after? A year, or almost 2 years after, or more than a year after, the conversations that I was having with him then, they're coming up now. And we're looking like fortune tellers or soothsayers right now. So I'm encouraging people, and every one of you who's listening right now, please go out there, tell your family and friends. Let's build what we are doing. Let's build the community here. Share with people who you think should know about the music industry, who maybe they're just casual listeners or listeners of the music. All right, they casually interact with Afrobeats or the artists and all of that. Please suggest this podcast to them. There's a lot more happening than they're seeing on social media, seeing on their TVs, seeing posted from by all these institutions. There's so much more happening, right? Although the voices are so many today, I want you guys can you can verify, but you've been listening to this pod long enough. You've been listening to me long enough. You can verify that the things we've spoken about here, some of them will be months ahead of time. Some of them, a year, ahead of our time. And it's not structure to any artist, right? I am for the institution, basically, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. We can complain about no institution. The thing is, even if someone starts building the institution we're complaining about, in fact, someone started building that and we didn't support. So if someone was to start some sort of like RIAA that the US has, like to monitor like sales and all of those things. If someone were to start that, are the artists going to recognize it? I mean, that's the question. Leaves us back to square one again. Are we as an industry going to support it? So, I mean, that is that. But I felt like I just needed to touch on that. And I was on several spaces this week. And can I also say this real quick? I think part of the problem that we have in this industry sometimes looks like, it's either structural problems or monetary, they're not enough investment. And sometimes is, just bad relationships and all of that. And all of that is fine. But I think there is something that is more important or most important in this whole conversation. And I think it is, how do we see each other? And now and I apologize for a second, because this is going to sound a little bit like motivational speaking or whatever. But I think we are not going to achieve any of the things we're complaining about if we do not get past this question of how do we see each other? In a sense that, can you see more than the poverty that is in front of you? Can you see more than the person, beyond what the facial or the structures of the person in front of you, how tall, short, whatever they are, whether you feel they're smart or not? Can you see beyond that and really want to invest in the divine in them, like what makes them a human being? Because if we don't, there is no way you're building a structure. There's no way you're building any of those structures. The Grammys doesn't exist because they just want to make money. You don't do that for a long time. How many companies have failed in the past 60 years? Right? That's not how you build that kind of institution. You really have to believe in the people you're trying to build the structure for. And a lot of people we don't believe in each other like that. We believe that innovators will come from far away. That's why someone can build a touchable chart and we don't see the value in it. But if some kid in Silicon Valley today brings an app that is barely functional, a lot of us will run to that before we support what already exists on ground. A lot of us will do that. So I think we need to change how we see each other. We need to see brilliance in ourselves, right? We need to see that. We need to see ourselves, we need to see the products that we put out as good enough. We need to see ourselves as good enough, smart enough. Because I remember I was saying it maybe 2 weeks ago, and I was saying it that, are you telling me that the same descendants of the Benin people who made those structures that is sitting in the museums in London, are you telling me that the descendants of those people do not have that same brilliance in them and cannot build? And some people were already giving me the eye, people were laughing. And I'm like, well, that is the crux of the matter. Do we see ourselves as capable of creating something that will be globally relevant? We don't. And it's like we've been systematically programmed not to see the great in ourselves. And I gave the example of Somalia, of a kid, doing a documentary of Somalia right now, where every time you hear Somalia, it's just war, pirates. That's all you hear, and he's going ahead to show us the part that we don't see on TV, that the news media wouldn't show us, and that's people living their lives in joy. And we forget that they're also by the ocean. So there will be people who surf, who swim, who sing, who dance, who do all sort of things that people do on a daily basis to just exist, right? I say all of this, and it's been on my mind. I say all of this to say it is important, most important. I think the cornerstone of whatever structure we're going to build is that we need to believe in ourselves and see brilliance in ourselves, and see and recognize that we are able to achieve great things. We're able to be innovators and great, whatever, in any, whatever field it is. Because if we don't see that, whatever structure a Nigerian builds, we are never going to believe in it. And no structure starts out being perfect and in the same it starts out being the final product. No product comes in being the final product. It always changes. The improvements, it always gets better. Facebook, the app, the company is not even what it is today, like the way it was 10, 15 years ago. The company is called Meta today. The Facebook thing itself is not even the same. Now you can connect Facebook and Instagram and other apps together. It started as a social media platform. It is a tech thing today. Like more, they're going into hardware from a company who started as a software company. So if we don't even believe in that, well, whichever way you start is not the thing. Can we have can we see the vision you're trying to give us, and all of us can just buy into that? Right? And the risk here is almost zero. It's not like you're putting your money into it. It's not like they're asking you to come and invest. So I'm saying we need to see, I think more importantly, that is the first step. We need to see ourselves as innovators. We need to see ourselves as creators of, brilliant, like capable of creating brilliant products for the world. If we don't, then what is going to happen is, even if you have the resources, for example, to start an award show or start building some of the structures little by little that are needed by the industry, how do you go ahead and do that if you don't believe that the people you're creating it for, you can actually, where they can benefit and you can also benefit from it, right? Because I'm sure some people just say like, these people, I'm not going to get anything back. There's no value in doing this. So, I mean, I hope I didn't sound too off, like here and there and kind of everywhere with that point. I'm just tired of hearing, oh, there are no structures, no structures, no structures. And I just hear that everywhere. It's like, I'm done with all of that. What can we do right now? And can we all buy into it? Basically is what I'm asking. Is that too much? Is that too much to ask right now? Really? So to the next thing real quick, before we dive into other things. We spoke about the billboard thing last week. Yeah, I think, oh no, not, I don't, yeah, we spoke about the billboard thing last week, but something else happened this past week that had everyone talking. And if you follow me on social media, please do follow me on Twitter. That's where I'm most active right now. Very soon we're going to be posting some of the videos we post on Instagram, on Twitter and YouTube. We're going to be posting those videos on, we're going to be posting them on Instagram as well, at least for now, the audiogram, where it's just the audio along with the, what's it called, along with the, like the closed caption sort of a translation, whatever you want to call it, right? It would just be that. It would be available on Instagram as well. If you want to follow me right now, please do. There are no pictures on there yet. It's Tiae Sound as well on Tiae Sound on Instagram as well. Please follow. I'm going to be posting those things there. One of the conversations that happened this past week was about the BET Awards, and honestly, I don't even know when that happened. It happened in the past week or so, a week and a half, and because I was seeing the clips on social media, on Twitter. And shout out to Kevin Hart, really funny. He's an American comedian, really, really funny guy. And those are what kind of most of the clips I saw. And yeah, and then here comes our Nigerian brothers and sisters, both the ones at home and in diaspora, all of a sudden complaining because Ayra Starr was giving the Best International Act, Best International Artist award backstage. And the backlash towards the Grammys from a lot of Nigerians was so much. And I was confused. I'm really confused. And it got me asking a question. One, the BET Awards is not the inheritance of any Nigerian artist, no matter how great they are. It is not the inheritance of any artist. It's not like it's the Headies that didn't give Ayra Starr an award or give her the award backstage. In the grand scheme of things, Ayra Starr is almost irrelevant in that space. I put out several tweets to kind of explain to people what is going on. Like, people should just calm down and just figure out, why does the BET Award even exist? Why does Black Entertainment Television, for those who do not know, the BET, why does that entity, why does it even exist? It's because Black Americans, let me be sure here, did not have enough representation on regular TV. They needed to start their own shit. And they did in the 80s. Fast forward to 2025, some African artists or Africans are complaining that they're not getting recognized in an American award show to celebrate American creativity and all of that. I'm like, what? How is that a conversation we're having? I don't give a damn who the artist is. Well, if it's Bill, if it's Wizkid, Burner, I don't give a damn who the artist is. It is not your inheritance. Don't even get me started on whether she should even win the award after the mediocre album she released last. Yeah, well, was it last year? Yes. And you guys can go search. I remember saying it on this airwave, on this platform, that the album was mediocre at best. And their actions after that has proven so, because you're not hearing him out of that album anymore because the album just wasn't good enough. It was flat. She was trying to be who she's not, and she failed at it. Her face in the dirt, in the mud with it. It was such a terrible project, and people were shouting. Like, a lot of all these influencers put that album as top 3. You know what a top 3 album should do for you? You should still be riding on that album at least a year, 2 years later. That is exactly what Tyler's album was. That is a recognizable album, an album that gives you leverage. They cannot but give you that award on the stage. And I remember mentioning on the Twitter space I was this past week. I said, one, she doesn't even have the leverage. We're talking about Wizkid, kind of was standing for, kind of stood his ground. African artists should be recognized on the stage, shouldn't be given the award backstage, blah blah blah. And I said, well, eventually when they did give him the award, well, he wasn't there, but eventually when they recognized the award, it was on the back of having one of the biggest records in America, not just in Africa, in America, one of the biggest mainstream records in the country, recognizable by almost everybody, both those in the Black and non-Black community in America. That's leverage. Burna Boy as well, although I heard he didn't even show up for any of the BET Awards in the past, was given the award on stage as well, right? I mean, back-to-back, one of the biggest songs. I mean, the first one was produced by Diddy, and then he also had the Shayo song. Like, he was everywhere in that Black American community. There was leverage, enough leverage to be called on stage. And I also mentioned that to people that most people don't understand, because one, awards like that we don't have any of that, and most people don't just know how those award shows work. You also have to understand that it is all about commercials, ad dollars, right? Advertisements. How do you justify that 20 seconds or 25, 30 seconds or a minute you're going to give to Ayra Starr to come on stage without the main audience, which is the African Americans, people them tuning off from the program? She doesn't have enough leverage. She shouldn't be there. One, for me, I don't think she should have even won the award. And number two, yes, right. What are we talking about? Why are we even mad? Why are we angry about that? And let me say this for the record. Now, I'm not gonna hide it that I used to think like that too at some point. And like I've said here several times, that over time I have changed my views on these things. I've had to think about it, look at myself, look at the industry, kind of analyze how things are, and be like, you know what? Anybody that doesn't recognize us, it's their prerogative. It's their choice. They don't have to. Now, where I'm going to come in is the people making money from us, if they're not giving us the right share of our money, then, I mean, that is the conversation I would like to have and jump into and be like, no, that we deserve. That is our creativity. The artists have done a lot. They put all their work into the album, blah, blah, blah. That they've done the work there. They should be recognized. They should be paid more. And, all of that. I'm okay with those kind of conversations because we worked. The artists worked for that. But anything outside that, no way. You're not entitled to anything. No Nigerian artist is entitled to receive anything outside the shores of Nigeria. If you do, count your blessings, you're on luck. It just pisses me off, the entitlement thing, the entitlement. Who is Ayra Starr in the grand scheme of things when we're talking about African American culture and the BET? And I was saying it on the Twitter space, someone was like, oh, I'm trying to shit on her. And I was like, well, no. Well, if you know me, you will know that I'm one of the big, see, most people find it hard to process that you can solely be for an artist. Like, you can be behind them and want them to succeed and want them to excel, want them to reach their highest potentials. At the same time, you can hold their feet to the fire and be like, you can do better. This was absolutely trash. You can hold those two ideas at the same time. And once you're saying one, most people find it hard for you to be thinking the other at the same time. Like, I can say the album is absolute trash, and then I can say I want her to excel and succeed, and she's one of the most promising artists that the continent has, or Nigeria has right now. I can hold both at the same time, and both can be true, and both don't negate the other. Both things can be true. And I remember saying it on that space a few days ago, and some people were like, oh, am I trying to say that she's not relevant? That's not the conversation. We need to put it in context of the BET Awards. No, you don't. I would have a Coco Jones, I would have a Kalani would go on the stage and receive an award before 20 times of Ayra Starr, whatever she does, would not be in comparison to the cultural relevance of these ladies, from Glorilla to Kelani to Coco Jones to Jazzy. There's so many young female, not say young, but female artists who are doing great work in that space. And you come from over the Pacific, and you're complaining you're not giving an award. You guys should please save me all of this. I mean, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous at this point. I remember tweeting about this several times this past week, and I don't think I've been that engaged. And I remember I was on a space, and the host was like, "Oh, we haven't heard from you in a while," and all of that. And I was like, "Yeah, I try to stay out of these conversations if it's not what's the word I'm looking for? If the conversation is not deeper than who deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore, or which artist has bigger cars or bigger ego or bigger head or bigger legs or bigger head. Like, if the conversation isn't going beyond that, you're not going to see me on any of these spaces, right? And I do appreciate all the people that usually message me afterwards, because that's when I actually have time. I go back after I've had these conversations and giving my takes. A lot of people send me messages or follow me after this conversation, and I do appreciate every one of you who is following for the first time, listening for the first time, thank you very much for pressing play and for tuning in. I can guarantee you that when this is not to be at this end on the side of anybody but the music, right? So I think we should leave that there. Talking about the music, let's dive into stuff that I actually listened to this week. Let's start with oh my goodness. Where are the rap heads? Those people, where are they? I want to where are those people right now? Where are the rap heads that are usually screaming in this industry? Because I don't see them right now. Can I just give a big shout out to Iceprince? With this album he released titled Starters. This is absolutely fire. Iceprince, would I say, finally found his voice. I was speaking about it about 2 weeks ago that there's a middle ground. There's this space in the middle where you can be influenced by outside cultures like rap and R&B and all of that. I was speaking about King Madi at the time. There is middle ground that exists where you can be original to who you are, where as a Nigerian who doesn't listen to all of that, but knows about it, knows about the genre of music, but doesn't listen to their, to the American rap and all of that, you can be influenced by that. Nevertheless, I don't feel like you're unauthentic. There is a middle ground there. And King Madi found it with that song, Ego. She missed it with that album she just released recently. And Iceprince hit the nail on the head here. I have always been one, whenever I listen to him, be like, I don't think I've enjoyed anything from him for a really long time. Really, really long time. Maybe since he initially came into the industry. Because everyone knew, like, he's not a MI in the sense that his flows and his delivery is not that rooted in like Nigeria and all of that, right? There's the flair, there's the Western American flair to him, to how he flows and how he speaks and how he delivers and all of that, right? But this album, I came into, and I have to be truthful to you, I came into this album with a lot of skepticism because I didn't know what to expect. Because I was like, will he be able to give me that? For me, I've been able to listen to all kind of rappers. As long as like you're authentic to what I connect with, then we're fine. I can listen to your work over and over again. And I can tell you that this was a fantastic project. Everything was clear. The flow was incredible. What he was actually talking about was clear, and the delivery as well was good. In the sense that he didn't go too far that kind of left me in any way kind of lost. And whether people like it or not, if you cannot infuse the local experience, and I don't mean local as in you mean the Nigerian experience. If you cannot infuse the Nigerian experience into your music as a Nigerian who is trying to make music for the Nigerian, if you cannot infuse that into your music, I'm sorry, we're not listening. It's not going to sound original or authentic. And can I also give a big shout out to Chopsticks here? Because I'm looking at it and I'm finding it hard to say, to see how all of this works without Chopsticks heavily involved in this project as well. It's obvious that he gave some sort of direction to this. Even the beats that were there, that were more Western leaning, I didn't get lost in all of that. Now, and this kind of is a sweet spot right here, where we have Odumodu Black, who gives you like, who gives you all of that, all of everything he's got to offer, right? Everything is all about Pidgin, Igbo, Yoruba, all the, local dialects and local slangs, all of that is in. And then you have Iceprince, who is more influenced by the Western sort of, Odumodu Black is, but just the delivery is what I'm talking about, whose delivery is more American in a way, but then sort of infused with the Nigerian, subtext here and there into in the music. Look at that. And I think we can have all of that. And I think Iceprince is on the extreme of this, because I think anything way beyond Iceprince, then I'm lost. I think you're going to lose me, right? And I think so many people can exist in that middle. There's so many people that do. There's so many people that do. With Psycho YP, okay, wait, Psycho, with Psycho YP as well, also on the edge right there. Very influenced by the American style of rap and flow and delivery and all of that. But then he still has a way of infusing the subtext of Nigerian culture and things that I can connect with in the music. So I just want to give a big shout out to Iceprince here. This was a fantastic project. Iceprince finally found his voice, is what I think. It's all I was thinking about. I couldn't have imagined that this would turn out as good as it did. And my question again, where are those rap heads? Where are you now? Are you only here to tell me about when Drake and Jay-Z and all of that bullshit you people talk about in rap spaces? Do you only bring out your head when you want to shit on Odumodu Black and his flows and his delivery? Is that the only time I hear you people? Because you know about American history, American rap history or whatever, the nuances in the whatever, doesn't make you knowledgeable about the rap scene in Nigeria. I commend Iceprince here for giving this a shot again, because he's been out of that conversation for a minute when we're talking about rap and all of that. And I know he's been fighting for his life on social media as well, trying to keep himself in the conversation when we're talking about rap and all of that. But this project, I am so proud of the work put in here. This was fantastic work. Yeah, really good job done here. The Bella Shmurda, the track 4, Loke with Bella Shmurda and TMO Vibes, really was a good job. Only Son, really good song about as well. And I like the fact that he kept this just him. He like make it loud and clear that this is you, and kept the features to a minimum, right? I think just 2 major featured songs with the one track 4 and then track 8. I really did like that as well, where it wasn't just features everywhere. Double down on you. Like, this is who I am right now. I think I got this right. And let the fans decide. And I think this was great work. The flows, fantastic. The subject matter on some of these tracks, fantastic as well. I connected with most of it. And I don't listen to any kind of like Western rap at all. I don't remember the last time I listened to a full American rap song. Right? Because why am I putting on, like, I'm not influenced by that in any way. Maybe that's the case. But you see Nigerian rap, that I want to know about. I would listen to this Iceprince project over and over again, several times this week for sure. To kind of take everything in, because with rap projects, they're saying a lot. Sometimes you miss here and there. I want to take in all of the brilliance that he put out in this body of work for sure. Man, bro, this was fantastic project. 23 minutes of absolute fire, most of this, but I think my favorite is still the top 2, the first 2 so far. I think I will listen to it again. If anything changes, for sure we'll let you guys know. But for the right now, this moment, track 1 and 2, Shako and Only Son, my favorite right now. Beautiful music all around in this does it call it an album or on an EP? But I think this is an album. How many? 8 tracks. We'll just call it an album. Oh, he calls it an EP. Whatever anything all those things are today. Who knows? Let me get to another album that I also listened to this past week. A big shout out to Mayorkun. The album is titled Still, I think it's Still the Mayor. And I think it kind of off the album from a few years ago. We called it titled "The Mayor of Lagos," and it's kind of like still the mayor. And let me start by saying artists like Mayorkun are the ones that that keep the industry alive. They are the ones that keep the lights on. They are the nails and the bolts and for this industry. And I know so many artists, there's so many artists that, very big and known globally and all of that. But the folks like Mayorkun are the ones who keep the lights of this industry on. I think Mayorkun is an artist's artist in the sense that if you're a geek about the music, just the melodies and all of that fun stuff, then you would always enjoy the music that he's got to offer. And I honestly feel that he needs to be putting out more albums than he's doing. I really love his way of working with melodies. This album was filled with a lot of that. Imagine it's like having R&B, using R&B techniques on a pop song. He is absolutely really good at that. I don't know if he actually grew up in the church. And the reason why I ask is, for those who grew up in like a church choir and all of that, they drill the need for the alto, soprano, and all of that cohesive sound. They drill all of that in you. And I think all of that I could hear in this. Now, I might be wrong that he didn't grow up in like in a church choir and all of that, but I could hear elements of that in everywhere throughout this album. It just made it really good listen. It was kind of on the second or third listen that I kind of started, kind of pay attention to other things. But he just knows how to make really like songs that just sonically sound very good. Outside of just like the beat and all of that, what he does with the ad-libs is absolutely fantastic as well. The extra thing he does to the music, that he adds to the music, makes it very, pleasant to listen to. And it's so easy to glide through these 31 minutes and you're done and you'll be like, hey, wait, I'm done? I mean, that's it. And you don't realize you're done with 31 minutes of music already. Now, I'm not going to say this album was great and all of that. I would say it was above average for sure. And I'm not saying that to trash the work being done. No, this was still a really good project. I think I prefer to hear him listen to him whenever, like in an album setting, because I think it kind of gives those each song kind of has is linked to each other, sort of in a way, because of how those melodies that he plays with on each song is, right? So if you listen to one out of the album, it could sound off in a way. And one example of that is this Reason to Jackpot that I think he released before the album a few weeks ago. And I listened to it and I was like, bro, what are you trying to play at? And I understand the jackpot thing, trying to inspire people to use the music for different things and all of that. And I honestly get that. But it just sounded very corny to me. But it's actually a really corny track. We understand what he was trying to achieve. But in the context of listening to it in the full album, it didn't sound so out of place, because there have been so much of that. So much of the, really good sounding melodies and ad libs and all of that. He knows how to achieve that, is what I'm trying to say. He really knows how to do that. And I think kind of my view of him also changed. And I know he put a lot of work into this. I saw a video of him a few years ago when he was trying over and over and over again to get a particular line of a song right. and so many people were clowning him, and I don't even want to get into what the internet thinks, but it just had me really looking at him, in a different light. That this is someone that is very committed to the work, and he was willing to put that out there. Not so many people would, right? Knowing that people can interpret that in whatever way they would. Not so many people um would look at that and actually see someone actually working hard to get it right. And I've always looked at him different. I would want him to put more projects out, put out more music. And it's not just for him. A lot of artists, I don't know why they go quiet for so long. I'm not sure why so many people do that. And to him as well, why go out of the industry so long? There's no reason why every 2 years you're not putting out a project. I don't know why. And like I said earlier, the artists like him kind of they put the lights on for the genre, and we don't see a lot of artists kind of like him anymore, like we used to have. Like there was a time where there were so many artists like him. There was, and I'm going to talk about him next week, Majid. So many of these artists who they were not the biggest, but they were just right there, giving us great music, year after year, month after month. We had so many of them. All of a sudden, I mean, this artist just went away for a long time. Like Majid, for example, been out for a long time as well, for a minute. Mayorkun as well. The industry has changed. Why are you out for a long time? That long? Most of these guys, most of you are in charge of, like, you can put out projects often and nobody's going to sit on your project like it's done in other places. In fact, they will even encourage you to put out project after project, as many as possible. There's no reason why, man, that Mayorkun should be gone for so long and not have as many projects out as I think he should. If you're just a nerd for the music and all of that, I think Mayorkun creates that kind of music where you just want to sit and there's so much to digest, so much to dig into, right? And it's just, I would say it's just pretty good, okay album. Of course, not a album of the year contender and all of that, but I really did like this project. It was really good to listen to. I will go back to it again for sure, just to get all that fun stuff in. I think my favorite track has to be track 5, Konko Below. Shout out to Fireboy as well. He really did sound good on this project. He was on 2 tracks, track 2 and 4, Innocent and Diamonds. Shout out to him for the collaboration with Mayorkun. It really sounded good, just okay. Rotimi, the American R&B singer, good collaboration with Mayorkun as well. Both, like I said, anyone coming with the R&B vibes with Mayorkun, the song would just sound really good because he already brings that to the table, right? So that just made that track sound really, really good as well. I did enjoy it as well. Which other one? Yeah, the Davido track. This had a lot of people talking as well. I don't know, man. I'm not sure what to say about this track. It was just there, but overall, I really did enjoy this project. It wasn't like a turn off from the very first track. I really was interested in knowing what the whole album was gonna be like, and it was good. It was really, really good work. Let's touch on how many we. Yeah, I think we'll still. My goodness, we still have the opportunity to touch on one more. Will I say one more? On. Okay, let's take a look at some new music that came out this week. There's one thing I wanted to talk about. We'll push till next week. I can get, and it's one of those topics that I'm guaranteeing you that you're not hearing anywhere else, or you're not going to hear anywhere else. That only here. We're going to be talking about the gospel music industry, or let's say the gospel music genre in Nigeria. Now, for those of you who do not know, I covered that industry for a good chunk of my career. I was in and out of that. I'm going to be sharing some of the experiences with you, and what I'm noticing now I'm gonna share that with you as well. And trust me, it's not. At the end of the day, it's a business, right? And we're gonna dive into it. Please do not miss it. Next week, it's gonna open your eyes to a lot. And I know most people are knowledgeable or know what is happening in the pop music scene, and not enough about what is happening in the gospel music scene and just the reach and all of that. We'll dive into that next week. Hopefully, I'm hopeful that we'll do that. But before we round off, let's take a look at new music that came out this week. And one of them, take a look at three real quick. Ladipo, promising rapper. He came out with a song this week. Did I say promising rapper? He's an established rapper. He's one of the top rappers in the industry right now, signed to arguably the biggest Nigerian owned record label at the moment. And he has a song out titled Folashade. Really good music. I think the reason why I'm pausing is because I really want to talk about, like, why is he a singles rapper? Why is Ladipo a singles rapper? One that just releases singles. And we haven't seen several projects from him. Like, if you like, Odumodu Black exists today, like, we know him, like, he has come out with an album that had everyone talking. Like, literally the face of the genre today. And he's been able to achieve a lot. That very few artists, I'm not even talking about rappers, that very few artists can touch. He's been able to reach those kind of heights. I mean, doing shows in Nigeria, like a tour in Nigeria, it's not easy, bro. I don't know how much money they're going to make from that, or if they're making any at all. But he was able to do that. And he was doing all of that with Ladipo right there, who has been in this industry and has a lot of resources and just power and all of that behind him. So just always had me wondering whenever I'm listening to him, like, wait, what has this guy been doing? He has a song out, absolutely great. Excuse me, but I think most importantly, I want an album from him. I want to know what he's been working on, because I think that is the true test to all of this. And it's like there's no drive with him. That's what I'm noticing. And I'm sorry, I don't see any drive. There isn't any drive to kind of dominate, to kind of be in the conversation. When we're talking about the rappers in Nigeria, there's no drive or anything like that. And shout out to my man, my favorite artist ever, MI, is coming with an album really soon. I saw the video as well. I am so excited. And whenever I tell people this, they're so shocked. Yes, MI is my favorite rapper and my favorite artist ever to exist, ever. MI is my favorite rapper. His music is my favorite artist. His music is evergreen to me. There's never any mood that I'm in that there isn't a music for. All I have to do is play one album and it would just take me through all of that. Right? So for me, it's so I already have that, and I have a thing to want to listen to rappers and what they have to say. So it's like MI has a set a bar. So I'm like, no, Ladipo, where's the project? Where is the project? It's like he's just sitting with nothing, no drive that I can see, at least from where I'm sitting right now. And for me, it's absolutely disappointing. So please give us the project. This was a really good single, but I think we can do way more than that. For sure, we can do more than that. Another artist that has a song out, and I've spoken about him a few weeks ago. His name is First Class. This is another one that has just been releasing singles after singles that I'm like, bro, I need a project now. Like, what is with these people? And he's been really successful. I mean, the past year or so, since he released this song titled Gen Z Fuji. When did he release this? Let me see when he released this song. January of last year. That's over a year now. This song kind of actually changed a lot of things for him. His name is First Class. First Class. He released the song titled Gen Z Fuji, and after that, he's released other versions of this. The remix, Gen Z Fuji 2 with who did he release this song with? He released with Tiae Apala. Absolutely fantastic. Oh my gosh. And then he released another one, Gen Z Arewa. Gen Z Arewa. My goodness, I say Arewa. He released another one, Gen Z Arewa, July of last year. Now, at this point, I'm like, okay, the first one run, great. Second run, great. Third one, absolutely fantastic. Now I'm getting another one, Gen Z Arewazobia, featuring Jarek and Zlatan. And I'm like, bro, just drop, like, I don't understand how artists can be on a roll like this. They don't go with the flow, go with the momentum. We can talk about structures from now till tomorrow, but if we keep doing the same things, how do you have a momentum of 3 singles, great singles, and after that, you still come out with another single again? You've had 1 year and 6 months of riding on a particular sound-ish or wave, whatever. At this point, you should have put out a project that can draw all these fans that you've had the past year, draw all those fans in and deliver a project. It makes you a lot more serious. Like, you look more serious, like you're taking this thing seriously. But in a year and a half, exactly a year and 6 months, you've given me 4 songs, like, of just riding on the trajectory of one and giving me 4 iterations of that. That's disappointing. What are we doing here? I think that the Gen Z Fuji 2 with Tiae Apala, absolutely crazy track. I think after that buzz that record got, you should have put out a project. You could still put out Arewazobia later on or whatever, like, do whatever you want. But just even business wise, you have momentum, put out a solid project that the eyes are on you, you can, draw them to, like, just give them something. I don't know, man. And this, I think it's so easy now for artists to just go away for 2 years and then be complaining about the industry. Like, how do you go away for 2 years? How do you, like, he's going to go now, maybe another, he's going to go in the 6 months remaining now, right? He's already gone a year and a half and no project since the release of this Gen Z Fuji 2024. I don't know, man. I don't know how people are thinking. I don't know where they're getting the advice from. But at this point, when I saw it again, I was like, Gen Z Arewazo, I was like, I'm done. What is this? What is this? The concept is nice, is brilliant. Having Jarek, having Zlatan, 2 incredible artists that I totally admire. But yeah, we're done now. And I think the momentum has actually calmed down, has actually slowed down. The album should have come, man. The album should have come. It's a year late. I'm looking at it right now that the album is actually a year late at this point. I'm trying to see when he released the one with Tiae Apala. Yeah, he released the one with Tiae Apala in March. That album should have been out by May. The album should have been out by May. Man, I don't know, man. I don't know why people are like, do you guys just want to be releasing singles? And he sounds like a really talented artist at this point. Like, even if it's to give an EP, still riding on this sound, who gives a damn? It's fine. Another song that caught my attention, I think this one is even older than that. This one had everyone talking. I don't know how I feel about this record, honestly. It's the one by Olamide titled 99. I've featured a bunch of artists on this one. And let me see. I thought I had that right here. I beg your pardon. And he had a bunch of artists that on this one that I wasn't really expecting at all. Now he had Tiae vibes and Ashake on the track. Um, this is funny to me. So Olamide featuring Tiae vibes, Ashake, Young John, and Daycom. You guys, I mean, if you're listening to me long enough, I've spoken about him a few weeks ago. Absolutely fantastic artist. Is US based kind of pop Afro R&B artist, if I could say. But he's absolutely fire. I don't know how I feel about this song. I would just say it's okay. The rumors that I'm hearing, I don't know. Well, I don't know if it's a rumor, but I saw a tweet here and there that Olamide probably has a project coming. I think he's been able to buy enough cultural, I would say cultural, what's the word I'm looking for? Currency or whatever with me, that if Olamide is releasing a project, I'm shutting up and listening to the project. Like it's not a matter of anything. Just respect everything he has done. A lot, like, but from the music to everything he's done as an entrepreneur as well. I'm here to listen to all of that. But yeah, that's what we'll round things off on the show for today. We covered the Iceprince album, Mayorkun album, the BET Palava with Ayra Starr, as well as 3 new singles that just came out right now, Olamide, Ladipo, and First Class. As always, I want to know what you guys think about it. Any of the things we've spoken about on the pod ever, whether it's the one we spoke about today or in time past, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. My DMs are opened on Twitter is Tiae Sound. Also on Instagram is Tiae Sound, and then there's also No Stand Pod on Twitter as well. Please subscribe on YouTube. Is the No Stand Zone with Tiae on YouTube, and which other one again? Yeah, and please tell family and friends. Let's grow this, okay? Until when? Well, we release this podcast every single Monday for those who are just joining for the first time. So please don't drink and drive, don't text and drive. And until when? Until next week, stay blessed.